sea level rise and extreme weather brought on by climate change threaten cities and towns along the world's coasts. San Francisco is one of them. Along with efforts to slow climate change, we need to start planning for the impacts we can no longer halt.
In the past, it was seen as a false choice. It was either you try as hard as you can to reduce greenhouse gases, and if you adapt, it's almost like admitting failure. Now we've recognized we have to do both. We have to couple the two together.
But what's it mean to adapt? What can we actually do? There are two traditional solutions to dealing with floodwaters. One is a wetlands approach, which lets the water spread as sea level rises. The second is a hard levee system, like the Embarcadero in front of San Francisco. But as sea level rises and storms increase, levees may not be up to the job.
You tend to build a levee, and it is a certain height, but sea level is going to continue to keep going up. They need to go higher and higher.
And that's not all.
Levees are expensive to build, and they are very expensive to maintain. They break the connection between land and water, and they destroy habitats.
Like levees, wetlands can also save the land from flooding, while increasing habitats for wildlife.
85 to 90% of the historic tidal wetlands in San Francisco Bay have been lost. They've been diked and drained for development.
Obviously, we can't restore San Francisco to its natural state. But in front of a lot of other major development around the bay are huge tracts of industrial salt ponds that used to be wetlands.
If it wasn't for those marshes being converted to salt production, they would have been filled and built on. It gave us the opportunity to do many of the restoration projects that we're doing all around the bay.
Sitting along the bay's shoreline, about an hour's drive south of San Francisco, is the city of East Palo Alto.
We're out at the Cooley Landing Salt Pond restoration. It's about a 115-acre site. Used to be marsh a long time ago.
Then, in the 20th century, it was used for industrial salt production.
And 10 years ago, the tides were reintroduced so that it could once again become a natural marsh. What we're looking out on is a very nice young marsh that's building up. You can see where the shorebirds have been in this channel feeding. They clearly like it here. The little footprints with the like three forks. Looks like an egret to me. With climate change, we can expect sea level rise and more frequent intense storm events. And these marshes will help provide flood protection. As a wave travels from the bay across this marsh, the marsh surface and the plants on the marsh will absorb the wave energy. So by the time that wave hits this levee here, it's going to be a lot smaller.
Sea level rise is a reality. So these kinds of projects are critical.
But architect Craig Hartman understands that wetlands are not a perfect solution.
We can accommodate wetlands in some areas, but we have airports, we have highways, we have cities that are built up very, very close to our edge. A place like San Francisco, we don't have the luxury of letting water creep up Market Street as the sea level has changed.
We have to understand that there is no silver bullet answer. There's maybe a silver buckshot where we have a whole series of options.
So Travis created a design competition asking for other solutions to sea level rise in the bay. He got 130 solutions. Bay Arc was one of them. It proposes to solve the problem for the entire bay by regulating the water that comes through the very narrow throat of the Golden Gate.
The idea would be to create a dam. Think of it as a curtain, which will be submersed down actually to the floor of the bay. And only when we have a flooding condition, when we have these combinations of storms, tidal surge, and sea level rise, of course, this curtain would be deployed to rise up to the surface.
I wouldn't take any of the proposals too literally. We want to inspire people to think differently about how we deal with the problems in the future. This is the time for imagination and hope. I'm not suggesting that it would be easy, but the strength of human beings is that we're best when conditions are worst. And this is a time for us to be our best.